I'll be speaking to Mark Arons, who is a partner in the firm of attorneys Miller Rosnick and is the attorney for the Soulemane family in the killing of their son Mubarak, January 15, 2020. There are some new developments, in particular, the filing of a lawsuit. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
I understand you filed a lawsuit in the killing of New Haven resident Mubarak Soulemane. Could you give us the details of the suit?
Sure. We were coming up on the 2-year statute of limitations for negligence claims against the city police, in this case being West Haven police. So I filed the lawsuit against them for not only negligence, but I included the constitutional violations as well: excessive force, failure to intervene and de-escalate. And at the same time, I included claims against the 3 state troopers that were present and participated. And the claims against them at this point are only for constitutional violations. Again, excessive force, failure to intervene and de-escalate the situation. I can't sue them, the state troopers, for negligence now, because I first have to go through the State Claims Commission, which is a different process. I have to get permission from the state to sue the state.
Mm-hmm. And you had you had started that a year ago, right? The claim that you submitted to that State Claims Commission. Have they responded in any way?
A year and a half ago.
Year and a half.
We started it. Yeah, we've had to put that on hold repeatedly. So nothing really has happened. And that's because the state is still investigating the shooting and whether or not to prosecute the trooper that shot Mubarak. And as with all criminal investigations, the state won't release any aspect of their report. They won't release most of the evidence until their investigation is concluded. So without the evidence, it's hard to prosecute the case or defend it for that matter. So we've been on hold.
Now, for those of our viewers who don't know about the case at all, could you talk about what happened to Mubarak Soulemane that day, particularly in West Haven?
Sure. Mubarak suffered from schizophrenia. So we know he had his ups and downs psychologically and psychiatrically. On that day, he went into an AT&T store in Norwalk and attempted to purchase a cell phone. Why remains unclear, because we think he had one. But when he could not buy one because he didn't have proper ID, he had a steak knife with him. He showed the knife to the employees, although he didn't really actively threaten anyone, and he attempted to take a cell phone. That didn't work. He didn't take it, and he left the store. He got into a Lyft vehicle, and when the Lyft vehicle stopped for gas, the owner of the vehicle got out. Mubarak got into the driver's seat and took off in the Lyft car. And what followed next was a police chase by the state police up I-95 from Norwalk to West Haven. When Mubarak got off the highway in West Haven, he was immediately surrounded and contained by West Haven cops and state troopers. His vehicle couldn't go anywhere. He was inside the car. He had the windows up and the doors closed. Within a few seconds, there were 5 or 6 police officers on both sides of the car with their guns drawn on him. A West Haven police officer on the passenger side broke the passenger side window. One of the state troopers attempted to tase Mubarak. We're not sure if that worked or not. And within a few seconds of being tased, Mubarak was shot and killed by a state trooper. that's the long and the short of it.
And so for, I guess, car theft, he was chased and totally surrounded, window up. Was he threatening the life of any of the troopers of the West Haven police?
No, he had a steak knife from a butcher block set, so it's about 6 inches long. He apparently had that on his lap, but with the doors closed and the windows up, and without being able to get out of the vehicle, he wasn't threatening anybody. And even if he had been waving it around at someone, so what? You can't stab anybody or cut anybody while he's inside the vehicle. So in legal terms, he was completely isolated and contained and posed no threat.
Yeah. And there's all this video, of course, showing most of this. The event in West Haven, there's a tremendous amount of video about it.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, the whole thing is on body cam and dash cam. And from start to finish, once the vehicle Mubarak was in was stopped in West Haven, from the time the police got out of their cars to the time Mubarak was shot was all of 35 or 40 seconds.
Now, what about criminal charges? I mean, this was put in the hands of State Attorney Michael Gaylor, and it's almost 2 years. I mean, why is it taking so long? What possible reason could there be?
Well, that's kind of a long story also. Initially, the state had been shut down due to COVID, so that was a 6-month delay. Then Gaylor needed to do his investigation. And initially, he told me that he had consulted with an expert, which is necessary if you're going to have a criminal prosecution. Still need expert testimony to try to convict somebody. And he said he wasn't, this was after a 1.5 years. He said he wasn't satisfied with that. He was going to consult with another expert. I didn't know what the results were. And this past fall, Gaylor had contacted me and said that he had been in communication with a second expert and he was getting ready to finalize his report. And it was just a couple of weeks after that that I got a call from the newly appointed Inspector General, Robert Devlin, who told me that he was taking over the investigation. So there's been delay upon delay and still further delay now.
My last question, what has happened, if anything, to the state police officer who fired the shots? We're talking about Brian North. Is he still on desk duty? Is he back to work? Do you know?
He's working, but desk duty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been 2 years.
2 years, and it's really too long.
Yeah, much too long. We met with Inspector General Devlin, who's a former Connecticut appellate court judge, before the holidays, and he explained the process to the family, but it's going to take him some time. He just really assumed the new position in October of this year, of 2021.
Well, thank you very much for this time, all this information about this very disturbing killing.
Yeah, tough situation for the family, especially over the holidays. But thank you very much for doing this and putting it out there for us.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.